Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It is May 5th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and this will be our last one for the week. No chart lesson tomorrow on Friday. As you know, I hadn't been doing them on Fridays for a while now, so I'm going to continue with that. It's been nice taking one day off during the week. But anyway, notice we have the arrows on here today. Overwhelmingly, the arrows won out based on the comments I've had. But I will say that there were a few people, more than I expected, that says, "Hey, I really like the circles better." So, but most everybody said do whatever works the best, and so I think we'll stick with the arrows. The only real complaint I had with the arrows was there were two. The big one was it was hard to differentiate the colors, so I'm using more of a lime. So now you can hopefully better differentiate between that's a hard one for me to get out between the blue and the green. And so I think they all look very different, but if not, when you're watching the video, let me know and I can play around with the colors. But these should be, I mean, that's very different looking than the blue now, where earlier they were a little bit harder to tell. But we'll continue to try to use the arrows. Um, Trying to think what else. I think that should cover it. Pretty good day today. It was all downhill. A lot more trades today. Right across here, we're really in a range. You can see the range, but this channel was still in play, the red channel. I originally drew it red this morning because I wanted to differentiate it as well because I wasn't sure if it was valid, um, but it did turn out to be valid. Um, so yeah, let's back out where you can see a little better. We'll go through the trades and we'll wrap it up for this week. There's a spike in a channel. There's a channel here on a shorter term. You can see that trend line working down through there. Price is playing off of it. Maybe a little lower there. The first trade I saw, it was a little iffy. Notice the new high and you pull back first entry, pull back. There's a failed second entry long there. So your signal bar doesn't have to be that good. I like it. I mean, this could almost be red. I mean, it's just right there. So there's a little bit of overlap. So I made it green, but I'm telling you that's right on the borderline of being red. Uh, you probably could have even used a limit order here. Once it broke, this is your signal bar. Once it broke below that, you could have dropped the limit order. And you could have gotten filled. I know at the low, maybe a tick back in, and you would have been right out of that one. If not, you had to ride out the pullback. And it's scary when it's bumping right against that high, but that's why we put our stop. Your stop actually would have gone one tick above these bars, and you wouldn't really even been in jeopardy. I mean, when you get within a tick or two, it still gets scary, but not that big. It's not as bad as it bumping right against where all you need is one more tick. Um, so it's a failed second entry long. It's a notice the knee low, first entry, second. It's a second entry short as well, but it's not a very good setup on that alone. But the fact that it's a failed second entry long and there's all that overlap across there um, gives a little credence to it. So um, and then we pull back and test it one more time and get a big bearish bar. Again, you might use a limit order here, but it's okay just to use a stop. You got enough room before you get here, really. So, but it didn't close quite on its lows, so I like using, once it broke below, I'd drop a limit order, maybe right back to here. You actually could have put one back here where it originally should have been, and you might have even got filled back there when it came back. It just depends. Or I like adding on right there as well. So um, then we're just kind of moving down, but you can see that trend line, and notice you made a double top here and you pulled back and tested. That's the double test rule of that high. Plus it's right off the trend line, real bearish. This is one, again, you might use a limit order because if you use a stop, you're right into that low. But your trend line's on down here. But you had to be aware of this red line drawing it across here too. So, but you can see that red, the blue one, originally I had it down here, but we started bouncing. And that's when I added the red one. So, but I still think the blue one's probably valid right across there. We just couldn't get down there because of this red line. So, um, anyway, um, It's tempting to want to go long here, but because we're in this channel, I wouldn't take any long. So nice short there. We pull back. There's actually a second entry here, a hidden one in a smaller, um, moves up. First entry moves up, second entry. If you went to a smaller chart, you'd see it. Fairly bearish bar, and it is right off those highs and a little break again. If you move this line over here, you can see it. So it probably should be green as well, but let's just make it green because there's reasons to want to take that. It's a little aggressive. It didn't quite get back to where I thought the midline was, so that had me a little worried. There's no break of the trend line going up, but you got the range in play, and it's a little failed. Notice how it went one tick higher than those others, and turns down. It's fairly bearish, so aggressive trader may take that. You got to skip this one because it's right into the lows. Just skip it. It would have worked, but you got your break, and you could have pushed down one or two ticks and then bounced. And again, it's tempting to go long down here, but I don't think you got a bullish enough bar though here, and then you're too close to the EMA. But notice what it does. It pushes through. You get a first entry. It comes back. You get a close outside. There's a second entry short here. You get a close outside and a new high all in one lick. But I would wait. I think I would wait on that one. Nothing wrong with taking it. I've made it green. It's a little more aggressive. It's not a perfect signal bar. But when it pushes up here and turns down instantly and goes out the other side, go short right there. And if it's already pushed by, drop a limit order and see if you can get filled. That is a quick, easy move. That's the better. That's why sometimes if you're patient, you could have easily gotten stopped out of that and then had this trade still. So sometimes being patient really helps. But notice the new high there, pull back. First entry, pull back. There's a second entry long right there. But your signal bar is not very good. But notice what happens. It breaks higher and it turns down and then it goes up. So it tried to go lower, and that really kind of confirms those first couple set the trend line. That really confirmed it, and that one closed off of it and turned up. So I would have liked it better if it would have broke lower, but it didn't. But I still think you're okay to go long on the second entry right here, because we've had a break of this one, a new low, and we're making a higher low than here. And there's also the possibility of the bigger channel. So we're probably, if we're going up, we're probably going to, if you just drag that line up, you can see that it matches. Just drag it up. We're probably going up to there. And that's exactly where it goes. And so I like that one. Actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. You got your long there, and then you pull back again here. This one's a little aggressive. You got a channel here, and it went above and came back, but you got enough room to get out before here, and that's probably where we're heading. So for that reason, if you want to be aggressive with this coming off of this trend line right up through here, I'm okay with that. And the fact that you got like a double in there, it's not back to the EMA. It's just not an ideal key entry point. I guess you could still say it's a key entry point because it's coming up this shorter term trend line. And just to make this a little clearer, I'm going to lighten that one. It kind of, chart just feels really, cluttered today. There's a lot of stuff going on here. But anyway, you can see that lighter one coming up through there. So if you want to be aggressive, I like that one. It's close to that high as well. It's another reason to kind of be concerned about it. But when we turn down right where you were expecting that to be, I really like that. Look how bearish it is, and look how far away it is from the EMA. We're probably coming back to there, and we may, if that trend line turns out to be right in this channel, we're probably headed all the way down. So that's a nice setup, and you would have caught a runner on that one. That's a major key entry point down through there. And the bottom it actually backs up right here, but it's right into that trend line, and that's why it probably closed across there 3 times. But once it pushed on through, comes down, it tests this, and notice you're coming down first entry, you pull back. There's a second entry right there, but you're not down to these lows yet, and you really don't have a break of this channel yet. So, but notice when it shoots on down, it touches that low, and you get a big reversal bar, and look how far away you are from the EMA. I like it now, especially with the overshoot, and bouncing. You got a double bottom right there. You see it, and you tested it twice right there. So that's your double test rule, really after the red one touched it. So I like going long right there. And you may have had to drop a limit order because it pushed up real quickly, but it came back and it would actually backed on down in there. So I don't know how it did on your chart, but nice long there just because it's now you can tell you're in this range here. And it comes up. I didn't like going short here. You can see it looks like a little spike in channel, and there's no break outside. There's no push to a new high yet. So we are still looking for a low, but I just don't think you should risk that one. It would have worked real easily, but I don't like risking it. Pushes down, and now you get a failed break lower, way away from the EMA again. Just go long right there. And when it pulled back here and went higher, if it would have broke above right there, I would have liked adding on again right there, or re-entering, because you're already out and starting over there. But this just went sideways. And once there's a little double top, I didn't like entering there again, even though there's a trend line. It's just 1, 2, 3 bars stacked up. One of them's a doji. So you just kind of wait, and it makes a little double top here. You actually get a second entry, but look at that signal bar. And this would have to be your signal bar. And it never even breaks below it, and then it goes higher. And you got a little double top. It's tempting to enter there, but again, you're just kind of going sideways. Look how sideways that is. Look how flat the EMA has gotten. So I think you're better off to wait. It actually bounces. It's a second entry long, and you're looking for a retest of this high. You definitely have a little trend line, and you figure we're probably going to here. So you're really looking for longs and not more shorts here. And so that's the reason. And this one broke lower and then turned and went right out the other side. I wouldn't have a stop there, even though it went out the other side, because it's too close. If you can get in with a limit order here, that's why that one's green. I'm okay with it. But when it comes up here and it breaks higher above that double, you really got all those and turns down. I like going short right there. And you really could have just went short below this bar. By the time this one forms, you're way down here close to the lows. So you got to go short right there. And it pushes down. And then you get a failed break lower here. Look at all those lows back across there, and you push lower, and then you look how far away you are from the MA. Look how bullish that bar. It actually broke below that little double matching lows there, turned up. Look at it. Go long right there. Again, it's tempting. This is a repeat pattern to right here, almost, except you're further away from the EMA. And this one actually went lower and went out the other side as well. You could have jumped back in there, but it's so close to that support, and it could have acted as resistance, that I think you're better off just to enter here. And this is one of those trades that where you enter, you catch the low of the day. And even though you didn't end up being the low of the day, look at that big move up. That's easy to catch a runner on that. Those are the kind you like to catch. The same thing here. This was kind of the high. Oops. This was kind of the high of it really wasn't the high of the overnight, but of the regular session. That was really kind of a high point right there, across there. And that would have got you a nice runner too. And then you would have had a nice runner here. And it looks like 2045 or so to, it's about 8 points, depending on where you would exit. And then now you got a double top. This is your first break. Again, even right here, it's tempting to go short because it closed inside that channel. But the way this thing shot up and made a new high, I'd wait on a second entry at least off the high, and you don't get that till here. Notice it finally makes a lower high here and turns down. And that's where I'd wait to enter. And it's a big bearish bar. Go short right there. Then you get a little double top. The only reason this one's green, you get a failed second entry long here, but you don't want to go short right into that previous support. We have pushed on through, but that doesn't mean it's going to push on through again. It could hold. But when it bounces right here, um, and makes a double top, we're probably going to go lower. So you got to be, this is an aggressive trade, but if you want to take that one, um, I'm okay with it there if you're being aggressive. But I'd be very leery of that bouncing on that right there on me. But it should have went higher right there when it couldn't get back up, and you made a little double top. And it's also a breakout pullback retest of that area right there when we went below it. And the bottom just fell out of that. You hate not to be able to catch that, but that's, unless you're being aggressive, you probably didn't catch that. And notice, this is how efficient the ES is. Notice that what they did here, they would have gotten any break-even stops on an entry right there. And it's just amazing how they can do that. They come back just enough to get any break-even stops, and then the bottom falls out of it. So that's why sometimes you may try some different techniques with your break-evens and look at it go after they ran all those stops. It pulls back and tests the midline right here and the trend line, and it did go higher and then turn down, but you got to go short right into the low of the day, and I just think that's too risky. And it would have worked, but I don't think it's worth risking. So unless you're wanting to be really, really aggressive, and even then I don't think I would have taken it. And notice what happens. We make a double bottom, we get a break, we make a higher low. That's a second entry long, it's a failed second entry short, and we do have the break and easily a new low now. So we're looking for a reversal. So I like that one. And then I like adding on here. When it turned back down and still closed, that confirmed that trend line. Look how bullish. Go long right there. Add on if you didn't enter here. I like it on both. And it's tempting here, but you're right back up to the high of that trend line. Here, maybe. Notice what happens. You pull back to the trend line. Again, you're right up there to it, but it pulls back a little here, and it tests the EMA. So when it broke above, it's a second entry there, and you still got enough room to get out here. So you figure if worse comes to worse, it may kind of crawl up until it gets to here. So this one's real close to being green, and I probably could have made it green. But and if you do enter here, your stop has to go below this bar right here. Just remember that. Even though it never came back below this one, you would still want it below that one. And that's important. And that got you into the 2 o'clock hour. There's actually another possible green right here. Notice that you overshot, and you got that bar that closed inside, and you're way away from the EMA. It's right into the 2 o'clock hour. I don't think you want to risk it. But this has been a big down move, so you got enough room to get out there. So if you want to be aggressive, you could take that one too. And it would have been a nice trade, but you don't know that ahead of time. So if you don't follow the rules, a lot of times you will pay the price. So there it is. 2-tier channel working down. We get a break here, move to a new low, and then we just kind of went sideways. So but yeah, we'll try the arrows for a little while. They let me know if the lime green and the darker blue and the red now. Um, Obviously, you won't see a blue on the highs and you won't see a red on the lows. So it's kind of the green that is questionable. So I think you'll be able to tell now the difference between the blue and the green. And you definitely can tell the difference between the red and the green. So tell me if that's not a little better. If it's not, we can play around with the colors some more. And we'll continue to experiment with the arrows. But I think it does clean it up. And I've kind of figured out how to get them on there a little quicker. It really doesn't take, now that I've figured out a little strategy here, it doesn't take much longer than putting the circles on there. So, and I think it makes it clear for people that are new exactly which way we're entering and what we're doing. And just for clarification, that whichever bar I'm pointing at, that's the signal bar. But your stop always has to go, your safety stop, one tick. If you're going short, it'd be one tick above the highest bar in that swing. So, or the lowest bar in the swing. So let me give you an example. There was one here where we entered, like right here. No, that's not it. There was like a little inside bar somewhere. Now I can't find it. Can't remember where that trade was. Oh well, I'm not going to spend a lot of time looking for it, but it would have been a nice little example. Where was it? Oh, it's this one right here. That's actually your signal bar because it's the one that made the lower high than that one. So but if you enter here, your safety stop has to go below the swing low, which would include that bar. So your safety stop has to go. Let me make that bigger. So this is really your signal bar here because it made the lower high, and this is where the second entry is. But to play this properly, your safety stop has to go one tick below that bar. So down here. So keep that in mind. Even though I'm pointing at this one and this is a signal bar, your stop always goes above or below the swing high or low. So in this case, it would go one tick above that bar. Here, even though that's your signal bar, this one makes the swing low, so it goes one tick below that bar. If you entered here, it'd be one tick below that bar. So I hope that makes sense. And that should do it. So I'm going to wrap it up. This is going to be it for the week. Again, let me know if you think the lime green is much different than the blue now, and if that helps. And we'll be back again to do it Monday, but I'm going to be out of here for the day, and I'll probably be leaving early tomorrow. I'm getting ready to play in a golf tournament, so it's rained here for a month, and we've had about 3 days this week of just beautiful weather, so I'm playing golf every day today. So I've been out of the office after my trading each morning, so I'm coming back in and doing this in the evening. So I've been a little slower at emails, and I probably will be tomorrow as well because I'm cutting out of here as soon as I finish my trading tomorrow. So, and I hope I'm done early. So anyway, have a great weekend. I will try to do the same, and we'll be back again to do it Monday. But this is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.